Good evening from Assembly Hall. It's the Indiana Women's Basketball Show here on BTN Student U. I'm Sam Neidermann, joined by my good friend Connor Hines. Tonight, the Indiana Hoosiers fall to the Northwestern Wildcats, 75-69. Very poor night for Indiana, and you can't win them all, Connor.
I mean, if I had $1 for every time Terry Moren used the word grittiness in that post-game press conference, I'd be a pretty rich guy at this point because, I mean, that's really what it came down to tonight for this Indiana team. And at times when things haven't worked out in their favor, it's been the defense that has bailed them out in more instances than not this season, and even then the defense couldn't really pick up the slack tonight, and just miscommunication all the way around. Brenna Wise talked about it after the game, piecing all 40 minutes together, right? And that's what Indiana just hasn't been able to do yet between last Sunday's loss against Wisconsin and then tonight losing again against Northwestern, make it 2 of the last 3. So they're going through a bit of a rough patch. Of course, this team has confidence in itself to, rebound at this point, but there's no doubt about it. It's tough sledding right now for the Hoosiers.
A tough night for Indiana, and for more on that, here's Coach Terry Moren.
Northwestern just came in and they were the tougher team, and that's disappointing. And, we have to, circle back and figure out why they were tougher than we were tonight and fix it and then move on, because it doesn't get any easier. We've shown now and again throughout the season, just a level of toughness, when we got down and then we fight our way back into games. And, sometimes there's been moments where we've, that level of toughness that I'm describing has won us games. And it didn't tonight.
Connor, Coach Moren obviously not satisfied along with the rest of these players, and she talked about fixing it. There was plenty to fix for IU tonight, and it started on the glass.
Yeah, and for the large portion of this first part of the season, I think this team has prided itself on being that disciplined team, and Terry Moren was just flat out frustrated with her group tonight because she said it herself. I mean, they weren't the tougher team on the court, losing the rebound battle 45-29, and Indiana, again, just shooting 30% from the field in that first half. That's not going to cut it in the Big Ten, and they talk about just having a new opportunity every night, every time they come to the court. So it's now a matter of putting all this behind them and moving on to Purdue this weekend.
On to the next one. It is a big rivalry game indeed. Sunday at 2 p.m. inside Mackey Arena. My friend, you're going to be there, so what are some of the keys to look for in that one?
Well, Purdue coming off a loss to Rutgers tonight as well. Indiana coming off a loss to Northwestern. So both these teams looking for revenge, and always with that in-state rivalry game, it's a bit of a toss-up, but it's going to be huge for both sides. Of course, Purdue's off to a hot start. Indiana's been struggling, so it's a perfect opportunity to turn it around. But the most important part about this team up to this point is that they've had incredibly good short-term memory, and I mean, they're going to need that again on Sunday because there's no doubt about it, they've been struggling up to this point.
You know what? Let's do a new thing on this show. We haven't done it yet, but a player to watch, a pick to click. Who are one or two that you think might have a standout impact performance in West Lafayette on Sunday?
Well, I think it might be the obvious choice at this point, but after this loss tonight against Northwestern, I think Allie Patberg really needs a bounce-back game. Missed her assignments more than a couple times tonight on the defensive side of the ball, and then this team as a whole, just as a cohesive unit, not really clicking. Of course, the miscommunication was evident for pretty much the entire game tonight. So I think they all just need to get back to basics, so to speak, this weekend.
It's back to basics for Indiana. They're on the road taking on the Purdue Boilermakers on Sunday. We'll talk to you next week, as always, with updates on Indiana women's hoops. For Connor Hines, I'm Sam Neidermann. This is the Indiana Women's Basketball Show on BTN Student U. Hasta luego.